We're this close to crowning an NBA champ, and with the action heating up on the court, it's even hotter at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. There are only 4 teams left, and DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odd boosts, and so much more.
Think the T-Wolves will continue their hot streak? Or maybe you feel that the Pacers' Cinderella run continues. Throw up to $1,500 with DraftKings no sweat bet. New customers can deposit at least $5 and you'll get a bonus bet back equal to your first bet if it doesn't hit.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code Jenkins. That's code Jenkins, Jenkins, for new customers to get a no sweat bet up to $1,500 if your first bet doesn't hit. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Welcome to Jenkins and Jones on the Volume Podcast Network. It's Wednesday, May 29th, and the gang is all here.
The boys are back in town.
It's been, what, 2 weeks? Longest ever. I missed y'all.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like we're like, you know what I mean? Y'all doesn't exist unless we all are together, it feels like, right?
Yeah.
Am I tripping?
Yeah. You know, we got to keep shit trucking, but shit ain't the same when it ain't all 3 of us, man.
For sure.
I just dropped the kids off for Cinnamon Roll Wednesday, Wednesday mornings at the cafeteria, and I fucking skipped back to the house, bro. I was like, I get some bullshit with my boys.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man, a note of explanation, bro. I did look, the live streams have been fucking jumping, and so we're trying to be responsive to that. But the fellas, we did not plan for 2 months where we were going to be live. It was like, it wasn't what we knew was going to happen. So I apologize. I feel like I told y'all before we hopped on, I feel like I opened the dam up because I don't think one of us had missed a show in like 2 years. And then I had to miss one because we were traveling. And then it was like been 2 weeks since we've all been on a pod together. So anyway, very happy to see y'all. As always, that's Dragonfly Jones, aka Tyler.
Hey, everybody, have a good.
LaJethro Jenkins, aka John.
What's that, Bubbas?
I'm Guardy B, aka Mike.
Motherfucking Mike.
Coming back.
That made me smile to say. That made me smile to say.
Motherfucking Mike on a special reunion episode of Jenkins and Jets.
I feel like it's been 2 years.
Special reunion episode. We're produced as always by the lovely and talented Jackson Saffon.
What's up?
And shout out to Josh and Danny who are actually producing everything at this point. All right, let's talk about
without question.
It's just like so funny. It's like producer is the name of your character on the show.
Yeah. I don't know. Josh and Danny are the real producers.
Yes, correct. Let's talk about that Wolves-Mavs game last night. That I feel like that was the game we've kind of been expecting to see, and it finally happened. This is my favorite because this is what you tell every first-year sports writer, and they're like, how do we do interviews? They say, just go up to anyone and ask them what was the difference. It doesn't matter if they won. It doesn't matter if they lost. What was the difference? So, gentlemen, last night, the Wolves got it done. What was the difference?
It was Cat. That was the Cat game, bro. Like, and shouts to that man. You know, he's been hearing a lot of shit. He's been getting a lot of just criticism. He's been having a bad series, but bro, he balled out last night. We saw him, being more aggressive, attacking the cup. Then we saw that fourth quarter 3-point spree where he had like 3 in a row to kind of, really kind of distance them and shit. It was the Cat game, and shouts to Cat, man, because I feel like we might need to reel it in a bit with Cat. I feel like it's starting to get like a little too personal with the shit. Like, bro, I enjoy a good Cat joke as much as anyone. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna act like I don't, but let's just keep the shit basketball. And I feel like it's starting to steer beyond basketball. Like there was a piece on the SB Nation where they like called him corny and shit. And I was like, okay, we're doing a little too much here, bro. Let's just keep it basketball. Let's keep it good natured. We don't need to go extra with it. And I'm glad that he had that game because, like I said, I feel like we were starting to get a little too extra with the Cat criticism.
What is
I'm becoming an old man, bro. Like I've defended Rudy and Cat as of late. I don't know what's happening to me, dog.
I was gonna say Bomani's calling him 14 feet of suckadom. You're out here saying
I'm getting old, man.
I mean, Cat has some huge moments in the last series. We forget so quickly. You know what I'm saying? How important he was to beating the Nuggets. Like those what last 2 or 3 games. He had some great games. That's why it was so shocking how poor he was playing in this series because he had stepped up. We thought he had stepped past that. You know what I mean? But yeah, like Tyler said, it was Cat. It was Cat. Ant looked better as well. You know what I mean? Like Ant had looked like himself. I mean, he doesn't work on the turnovers a little bit, turns that ball over a little bit too much. You feel me? But yeah, it was the big difference was Cat. Like the stars play like stars last night, and we really hadn't seen that, at least both of them together in this series. So I truly feel if Cat is Cat and Ant is Ant, and Kyrie and Luka are themselves, I think that the Wolves are a better team. You know what I'm saying? So if the stars showed up, I show up. I feel like those that I mean, like Nas, you know what I'm saying? Like Jaylen, like, I feel like they are better. They have better backup players. So I feel like if they lock in and they do what they're supposed to do, I feel like the Wolves are a better team. So hey, man, it's a series, motherfucker. They win. No, for real. If they win tomorrow, come on. What time is it, G? You know what I mean? Hey.
Yeah, I mean, it's if this does go 7, it's it's 2 games at Minnesota. But I mean, how much does home court really mean? Because Dallas won there twice, right? Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota gets another one. I did not see them winning the series though.
I think if they get another one, I think folks' nuts start crawling in their stomach a little bit. You know what I mean? And the pressure's on Dallas at that point, not on the Timberwolves.
I don't think pressure means shit to Luka and Kyrie, bro.
I know, but like I said, but if Cat and Ant step up, the pressure will mean shit to the backup. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think I think John, you hit it on the head, and maybe it was good that I missed a couple episodes because I would have been for sure all over like freezing cold takes or whatever the fuck. But like I was for sure at 3-0. Like I don't get it because I think that like the ceiling for the Wolves star players is higher. I think the Wolves role players are better. Mm-hmm. I think like you call coaching maybe a wash, but so like I just kept feeling like I know it's 3-0, but I still feel like this team is the better team. I just feel that way, and I don't think that's like a negative thing, but you have to see some of the stuff that the Mavs were getting and I love the episode with Master. I love that we had a lunatic pro Mavericks fan on. That was great. But he acknowledged some of the stuff they were getting. PJ Washington shooting 115% from 3. Some of that was like extremely anomalous, and you saw last night. Like, I don't think you can put a ton of pressure on those dudes consistently. Now, they don't need it consistently. They only need to win 1 out of the next 3 games, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I do think that the Wolves are a really well-constructed team. It's just, what you guys said, I really like what Tyler said about Cat, but the truth is this, like, this just is the Cat experience. Last night, he had his best game of the series, and he also fouled himself out of the game. With the dumbest shit possible, so like
very dumb fouls.
Yeah.
Like,
and
fouled Luka like 1 step over half court in the second half. And shit, like, what are you doing, bro?
I just think when we compare everyone to the same highest possible standard, and now that basketball is truly a global game, we get a Jokic and a Luka in the game where it's like, we expect you to be able to score from everywhere, to pass out of the double, to make the correct decision every time, to get every single rebound, to not allow the other guy to get an offensive rebound. That even if you look at the greats in basketball history, almost no one is perfect. Almost no one is without flaws. And this, like, Cat is a flawed player with a really high ceiling, which is what almost every superstar in the history of the sport is. He just happens to be like his flaws happen to be very goofy looking. Like, that just is. And it's kind of the same thing with Gobert, but I really think they're somewhat similar in many regards, in that if you lean into the stuff they're good at, Cat's unbelievable, but he's not going to come give you 40 and 20 and with 2 fouls. That's like 6 games in a row. That's not who he is. And that's not who almost anyone ever in history is. I don't think it's a fair standard to hold him to. This team is trying to figure it out in their first shot. And that doesn't happen. Look at the Mavs now, right? It takes the Mavs a couple of times. You don't usually show up with a 22-year-old leader and roll your way to the NBA finals. So losing, figuring out what you have to get better at, that's part of it. And I love that we're already seeing from Ant, the passing to the corner out of the double yesterday was a right decision. They weren't the best passes, but he was getting them there and they were making the threes. Like, you're starting to see that progress. I probably agree with Tyler. I just don't think you can progress fast enough to win 4 games in a row when you're down 3-0.
I'm lying, bro. I'm lying to myself. I'm just talking shit. I don't think they're gonna win either. But I think there's a chance because, like I said, this is the better team. You know what I'm saying? If they lock in and how they can, I mean, they definitely could beat this Dallas Mavericks team. You know what I mean? So that's like the same thing you felt. Like I'm watching this, but I'm like, they're still not the better team in this situation. The better play, they're just playing better. You know what I mean?
They're closing better. Like their last
closing better. Yes, the fourth quarter has been nasty. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, like, dude, it's been Ant hasn't played the best this series, and then Cat's just stunk it up. So like, and they still have a chance, and then they're
still led at the 5-minute mark of all 3 games they lost.
So I'm like, that shows you, like, if they were just to be locking in 4 quarters, have both their guys show up, and then the role players just be themselves, they're, to me, a better team. So yeah, but I don't think Kyrie and Luka are going to give up 4 in a row. That's insane. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I mean, the shit is all about matches, right? Like you look at the Timberwolves, perfectly constructed to beat Denver. They beat Denver. Then you get the Mavs, and they're not a good, matchup roster wise with them, right? Like when you got Luka and Kyrie out there, you need a team that can switch every damn thing.
They're a nightmare for everybody. Yeah,
right. So and Minnesota went big. That was the game plan to beat Dallas. I mean to beat Denver, and then you come against Dallas, who just got these 2 all-world guys, in the backcourt, and we see how they are eating and hunting the switches and killing them that way. It's all a fucking chess game, right? And then and people are gonna rework shit in the offseason. Minnesota's gonna try to figure out what steps they need to make if they meet Dallas again. But it's all a chess game, bro.
You said it. I think they also missed Lively a lot last night, and it seems like it's trending in the direction of him coming back. There's no official word on that yet, but we'll see.
Cat might have heard the people talking about he was foo-foo when he's attacking the rim. He might have heard that because he looked totally different attacking the rim this last game. And I think he can continue that. I think Lively not being there, affecting shots, is a big deal. You know what I mean? But if Cat does that consistently, I think he's good enough to still make a big difference. Just get started like that. Then the 3 started falling. That's basketball. You attack the rim, see, you get some buckets, get your confidence up. Now the 3's falling. That's run of the mill hoops, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
He did still get his shit thrown twice in one.
Bro,
possession.
I don't know why he tried to dunk on niggas. It's never worked out in his
He has like one of those every fucking game. Feels like what are you doing?
Where he's like, nigga, do you know who you are? You wear a size 78, nigga. You cannot jump as high as you think you can, bro. That big long ass foot. Oh, crazy, nigga.
Yeah.
He gonna be in a dunk contest next year or something. He really think he got bunnies. It's crazy. It's crazy seeing that consistently. But yeah.
The Celtics are in the NBA Finals.
They are? I didn't know that. That's news to me.
How you feeling, Jackson? How you
motherfucker, bro.
I feel great. Not a lot of teams make to the finals with only 2 losses. Got to play who's in front of them, Yeah. Got to just play the teams that they got in front of them. I mean, I don't know. I feel like
I really hate that you got to play the teams in front of you because there's no response to it, but it's such a mealy mouth bullshit.
Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst.
It's 100% true, and it's also like,
ignoring a ton of context. You know what I'm saying?
And like, has it happened that the best player from all 3 opponents on the way to the NBA Finals has missed games? Has that happened?
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it's happened. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. It's one of those things where, like, as we've said a million times, whether right or wrong or true or untrue, every single ounce of narrative will be written by how they perform in the finals. If they win the finals in 5 games, just for hypothetical sake, we're like, oh, wait a second, maybe this is just one of the more dominant teams.
Luka and Kyrie and PJ
Washington. Right, beat those guys, led the regular season to wins by a mile, like only had 3 losses over the, like, just for hypothetical sake. We're like, wow, dominance across from start to finish. And if they lose in 5 games, it's like, yeah, we were right all along. They just don't have it. Like, they're never gonna have it. Those Jays can't do it.
This iteration,
yada yada yada. And all of that.
You believe that? Though?
And I won't be able to argue it at all. And I'll be like, maybe I don't know what to do now. I guess you got to run it back because of whatever. But they just got smacked by a 22-year-old. Like, who knows? Like, it's all of the narratives, right or wrong, true. Like, it feels like it's culminating, like we've said the whole season from October until now for the Boston Celtics. Everyone was right.
Do you believe in them? Do you think they win this championship?
Do I think they win this championship? That's a great question. I think.
How could you
Oh,
possibly
man.
have been so unprepared for him to ask you that question? Your
No, I
favorite
think-
team is in the NBA Finals. Do
seeing the
you think
same
they're gonna
shit we
win?
see, no.
I watched the games.
His
I
heart
watched the
trying
games.
to, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I watched the games.
Out of here. Fuck out of here.
you be in that group chat talking on, bro. If you don't do anything else, you watch the motherfucking games, dog. Bro, you know what time it is with them boys, G.
I do, and I think it's not pretty being down double digits, being down in the second half of the fourth quarter against the Pacers team without Tyrese Halliburton. It's not pretty. It's also impressive that I made a joke about it in the group chat, but it also like is a good sign that they're able to like close out a game, multiple games in comeback fashion in a way that we've seen them do the complete opposite many, many, many times over the last 2 seasons. So it's not like that's a bad sign. But do I think they win the NBA championship? Yes, I do. How about that?
Wow,
How about that for you? How about that hot take for you? I think the best team in the NBA is going to win the title.
Okay.
Like
So hold
3
on.
minutes
Okay,
into
so I've got Jackson's time here. John, see how fast you can say the word yes. Go.
Yes.
Oh, he beat you to it.
Well, it speaks to my lack of confidence level in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum's left-handed dribbling ability, you know?
I mean, I think Celtics fans should feel confident. Like, there's also the rest component. There's also the fact, like, the one thing, what's funny is the Celtics they're giving you enough stuff to criticize while getting to the NBA Finals with 2 losses, which is an insane sentence to say. The Celtics fans, I know, are doing the same thing you did. No one's even bringing up on your side that you're playing without Krista. Like, you guys also had he's not Tyrese Halliburton or Jimmy Butler, or, but like, it's not like y'all have gotten through completely unscathed either. So here's my other question. If both teams are playing well, so say we go to game 7 in the Western Conference Finals, both teams are playing like the best versions of themselves. Who are you more scared of clicking on all cylinders, the Wolves or the Mavs?
Ooh, probably I'm more scared of the Wolves if both teams are clicking on all cylinders. I feel like it feels to me like when the Celtics struggle, it's because their stars are either shooting poorly or turning the ball over too many times, right? And I mean, sometimes they lose just because Drew Holiday and Derek White shot 12% from 3. Like, that does happen. But it feels like the main issues for them are when their best 2 players get frustrated, whether that's by a bad shooting night or by a too many turnovers night or some combination of those 2 things. And I feel like the Wolves have the best chance of doing that. I also feel like the Celtics are as well equipped as any team can possibly be. Doesn't mean it's an advantage, but they're as well equipped as any team can be to guard a team with multiple high-level offensive engines. You have 2 second-team all-defense players in your backcourt, one of which, Drew Holiday, is considered by every NBA player the best on-ball defender in the league. And then you have, while they're not Kawhi Leonard on the Spurs, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are certainly above average, B+, if not A- level wing defenders. And so then if you get Kristaps healthy and you take away theoretically some of that lob threat potential that Gafford and Lively have been feasting on, like, I do feel like even though their offense is the thing that's sort of been historic, defensively they're extremely, extremely well-rounded in that starting 5. Now, the bench guys, not as much, but I do feel like for any team to play Dallas, they're as well-equipped to do so. So I'm more scared of if everyone's clicking. If the Timberwolves win 4 straight against this Dallas team, I'm terrified.
Are you gonna have a a hard time allying yourself if the Mavs do win with the fuck Kyrie crowd that you're gonna be rooting for the Celtics with, buddy?
I think maybe the
hey,
high level
y'all
message...
press me over Nick Bosa for fucking 2 months straight. All right, you're gonna get some Oh, it's fuck Kyrie, huh?
Maybe the high level message, but not some of the specific verbiage used by Boston fans. I would not align myself with. Like I said it the other day. We all said it, that he feels much more mature to like use a boring sports media word. Like he feels like he's handling everything so well and has handled everything so well since he's gotten to Dallas. It's hard for me to have as much animosity towards the guys I did a couple seasons ago. So
it's not that hard for some of your brethren.
That's why I'm saying it. Maybe the high level, maybe the fuck Kyrie just sort of like as a colloquial sports fan, but not with the chest sort of like confidence and some of the more specific.
Not with the hard R, you know.
Yeah, not with some of the words.
Fuck Kyrie with the he's on the opposing team.
Yeah,
you
right. Yeah, you just in a normal sports fan way, not in a way that is going to anger populations of the country.
Y'all got the ban Big Baby. Y'all got the ban Big Baby Davis from that arena if Dallas goes there. That motherfucker was ready to kill Kyrie over Lucky, bro. And that man just got 4 years put on his head. Like, this is a dude with nothing to lose, bro. You got to keep that man out that arena.
He ain't sitting down yet? He still ain't sat down
He got
yet?
sentenced. He hasn't gone in yet, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's crazy. That's wild. You get
the last ride
around waiting to, you know what I'm saying? Waiting for the day to go sit down. You feel me? That's crazy. Anyway.
We could tell, yeah, for sure. It's unfortunate news since last time we recorded. Bill Walton passed away. You know, we obviously were kind of too young to really see the prime of him playing, but as a West Coast basketball fan, certainly got to see him. You know, Tyler talked about the value of inside the NBA being the people you want to hang out with at 1 o'clock in the morning. Pac-12 basketball games, shit, can feel like 1 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. And Bill Walton, just for his entire broadcasting career, was always one of those people who I appreciate weirdos in sports.
Oh, for
like
sure.
I really think they're what keep things interesting, what makes it so it's not just, you know, over and over and over again, just like, let's throw the same strategies. Like, I just really appreciate people who are willing to lean into what's unique and strange about them. So very sorry to hear that he passed away recently.
Yeah. I think from a basketball perspective, you know, I'll talk this, then I'll touch on what he means to me personally. Like, I think we need to kind of just put way more respect on him as a basketball player than he's gotten. Like, this is a dude who was tied for Lou Alcindor as the greatest college basketball player of all time. 88-game winning streak at UCLA. Won 2 national titles back-to-back. 2 National Players of the Year back-to-back. He had a run where he went from his junior year of high school into his senior year of college where he didn't lose 1 game. He lost 1 game like in the middle of his senior year of college, bro. Like just a phenomenal basketball player. And, you know, we have these discussions all the time, like, what player was robbed by injuries the most in the NBA? And for our generation, it's like Grant Hills or Penny or T-Mac. But the all-time answer is Bill Walton. Bill Walton was on the way to like establishing himself in that pantheon with like the Kareems and the Hakeems and the Shaqs and the Bill Russells and the Wilts right before injuries robbed them of that. But even then, like, you know, he won a championship his first real healthy year, like his 3rd year in the league. Then, you know, he won a championship as a 6th man with the Celtics. But on a personal level, just a dude who just brought so much joy, you know, to the game, to with his commentary. A dude who, like, you enjoyed listening to him. He's like one of the dudes who I would have like actually approached if I saw him in public. And I have a very short list.
That's a real short list for you.
Yeah, it's like Braun is my GOAT, and I would not say shit to Braun if I saw him in public. You know what I'm saying? Security would goddamn hit me with the DJ Jazzy Jeff for Fresh Prince shit if I ran up.
What's up,
Braun.
King?
Yeah,
I've been in the trenches for you, King.
I've been arguing on Twitter for years, but you can't get this guy out of here. Who the fuck? Yeah. But there was a quote that circulated with Bill Walton discussing Nikola Jokic, and I feel like it was the most perfect thing that just encapsulated everything that was great about him, and I'm gonna read that. He's a beautiful player who plays a mental game. He has what seems to have been lost in the world, which is peripheral vision. When you walk down the street in life, when you drive a car in life, when you ride a bike in the world on a street, it is staggering, the lack of peripheral vision. But Nikola Jokic is the antidote to so many of our problems in the world. When you see someone like a Nelson Mandela or a Martin Luther King or a Mahatma Gandhi,
all facts.
someone who sees the future before anyone else does, knows how to get to where they need to be, where they want to be. That is Nikola Jokic. Happiness begins when selfishness ends. In a game that has been taken over by incessant dribbling for yourself, Nikola Jokic is such a breath of fresh air, and it's his imagination. Watching him play basketball is like watching Bob Dylan come up with the song. And I feel like that's just the most perfect fucking like example of what Bill Walton was and who he was. Like, I love that quote right there. Like, it's like he took something so outrageous, so off the wall, and he brought it all together and it all made perfect sense. Like, happiness begins where selfishness ends. That's a bar, bro. That's some shit to live your life to, you know?
For sure.
So RP to that man, bro.
I think the same way the reason you'd approach him and not Brown, because he was himself. He was a human. You know what I'm saying? He realized that there was a lot of things bigger than basketball. You know what I mean? He seemed extremely approachable. But yeah, man, like you saw a person being themselves that has done great things, you know, on television day in and day out. You know what I mean? So that's what I like. What I loved about him was like when I was listening to him, you know, talk basketball, I would get those little gems about life as well. You know what I mean? And he seemed like a guy I would want to sit around and talk the sport game with, not these other dudes that just, you know, get really nerdy about it. But yeah, man, RIP to him, G. You feel me?
He was on I think the first interview I heard with him, like long form interview, he was on Pardon My Take, and I remember they said it was like a 2-hour something interview. And at the end, you know, they're like, he said something about like, we've been going like 2 hours. Like, how long is the interview going to go? And they were like, it's going to go until you tell us you don't want to talk to us anymore. Like, we're just going to sit here with you as long as you will allow us to sit here with you.
Also, he would pull shit. He would pull the conversation away from the game. You know what I mean? Constantly. But dude, this topics that he was talking about, I was more interested in. You feel me? Like, yeah, I know we're supposed to be here to talk this, but let's talk about this. This is more important to me in the moment. I love that shit, bro. You feel me? Like he made the broadcast his. It wasn't just about the game. I'm gonna do me on here, and I love that.
I also was not surprised to find out after his passing that he was a bit merchant, but Dave Pasch, who is his broadcast partner, said, I don't know if you guys saw this, Bill Walton would text him during games that Dave was broadcasting that Bill wasn't, and pretend that he didn't know that Dave was on air at the time. So he would text him, I hope you're watching this Knicks Cavs game. Superb. Check it out. Still time. Hopefully the announcer will reset the scene for you. Enjoy. BW. And they said, are you watching this masterpiece? UCLA at UW on ESPN. I have no idea who's calling the game, but the guy is stealing your lines. Theft plagiarism. Right here, Theft/plagiarism is not right. The inequity of it all.
Dude, what a king. What an absolute king. Dude, that dude straight up taught me life lessons, bro. I remember when he was calling Pac-12 network games when I was in like middle school and high school, and he was talking about Conference of Champions. This was back when everyone was really hating on the Pac-12 from a basketball standpoint, right? It was like, this conference is trash, yada, yada, yada. And Bill was still like, Stanford, UW, this is the game of the millennia. And I'm like, dude, this guy is teaching me, a 13-year-old, that it is allowed to take pride in things that other people think are dumb and think are bad. I'm like, this is amazing. It's kind of stupid and silly, but also like, what a king.
That's what it's supposed to. Yeah,
so
that's
kind
what
of the
Stanford
point,
UW should be.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, that was something he constantly preached. Be present in the moment. Like, you look at that Nikola Jokic quote. That was the premise of that. Be present. Take it all in. Like, that was the parallel he drew between Nikola Jokic's court vision and how people should live their lives. Like don't have tunnel vision. Look all around you. Absorb all this shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, he for sure gave life lessons, and I loved when he went off the rails. Like, that was my favorite thing about him calling games.
Of course, bro. I mean, listen. Even if you're a casual basketball fan, you've heard almost every point that a fucking the color guy is gonna make in a basketball game 1,000 times. And so I genuinely, people would make fun of him for it. Obviously, it was like a meme on Twitter, but like, I love when those guys go off on tangents. The story that guy has about playing at UCLA in the 70s is going to contain more useful information to me as a fan than him talking about like what he just saw on the last play of a game on a day where 4,000 basketball plays happened. You know what I mean?
I feel like the thing is, like, when we watch basketball, we watch basketball. When he was watching basketball, he saw life. And he'd always speak to that when he was talking about basketball. You know what I mean? So even to like the regular ass fan, the way he spoke about the game felt more relatable because you know he would talk about he was talking about life, not just the game itself. So yeah, man, and like
Very like
just
Ted
seeing somebody
Lasso.
You said what?
It's very like Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
He's like viewing it as just a prism to learn lessons about life, you know?
And seeing somebody be so like be so great, but also be so weird, there's something beautiful about that. You know what I'm saying? Like he did all his great shit taking his own path. There was only one him on the planet. You know what I mean? And there's all this, you have to do this, you have to do it. No, like he was just himself and he got it done. You know what I mean? And I think there's something beautiful about seeing people being big and fucking weird and loving themselves in that process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So
all right, we got two algorithmic screenshots here on twitter.com. One is someone got a tweet right next to our live show tweet that Ty Lue has just signed a multi-year extension with the Clippers. I know none of us had held out any hope for Ty Lue coaching the Lakers. But I have to say, as we were looking it up, it does just feel like Rich Paul and Clutch played it masterfully. That he is represented by Rich Paul, so it's like, oh, someone leaked that LeBron would love to play for Ty Lue with the Lakers, and then Steve Ballmer, like a couple days later, was like, "We're going to sign him to an extension. We're going to sign him to an extension," and then they sign him to a big fat ass extension. Hey, man. This is why everyone loves the Mafia, bro. Like, you just want the Mafia to be on your side. You know what I mean?
I feel like strings, man. I honestly think that Ty Lue wasn't going to go anywhere regardless, because the reason the Lakers whiffed on Ty Lue is they were cheap, and Ballmer is not a cheap guy, right? Like we knew that he was going to back the Brinks truck up for Ty Lue, so I'm not surprised there at all.
I mean, he's a big spotlights over streetlights guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's building that fancy ass stadium. He's knocking down half the fucking hood to build the gentrification capital of the world with the Intuit Dome.
I would, nasty. So but I feel like we really saw how like the brilliance of Rich right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think when you said that, when you said that he was represented by him, I was like, oh my God. Like this, you feel me? Like what he's willing to do to get motherfuckers paid. Like there was no chance we were gonna get this dude, but he knew Steve Ballmer would throw that bag at him. You know what I mean? Just with the thought of him leaving. Man, that's crazy. Like you said, that's some mafia shit for real.
Yeah.
Masterfully played.
Masterfully played. Crazy.
Here's the other screenshot we got from the Royal Bob, he got served up our live thing, and then he got served up this following piece of information, or actually it's an opinion by Andrew Marchand that could actually end this podcast.
Wait. Could it end the podcast? What do you mean?
You ready? I'd be surprised if Mike Tirico wasn't NBC's #1 on the NBA. He's the face of the network, was close to doing the finals for ESPN at one point, and I'd imagine he would want it, although I haven't asked him yet. That's tough to wrap my head around there, fellas.
The face of the network, the Italian face of the network.
How do we not speak to this every time we see him? Like you said, it could end the pod.
It could end the pod, bro. I promise you this: if they put Mike Tirico on the playoffs next year, we will go out in a blaze of glory. If we go out, that's all I can.
That's gonna be the gift that keeps on giving, dog.
Oh.
All right.
I can't imagine that. Will it happen?
NBC loves Mike Tirico. I think that there is absolutely a chance that could happen. The only question is, with the overlap with football, once, as with the start of the season, like, is he off it during football season? I don't know. I think that all of that would have to get figured out. But they love him. I mean, they threw a bag at him when all he was doing was kind of like
off shit.
Yeah, it was kind of like, and then being the agent in waiting or whatever for Sunday Night Football. So I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I'd be very excited for that from a pod standpoint, and I'm also just clenching every muscle in my body trying to think about the three of you talking about Mike Tirico on live streams for 2 months straight. The
two of them talking about Mike.
The three of you guys talking, all saying sort of similar stuff about Mike Tirico. Brother.
I can make Italian jokes about
I
my
was gonna
career.
say, you gonna leave your countryman out there like that?
You did a great job. You did a great job, bro. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna start calling
Jackson,
him
when
Tirico.
when we get going or Tyler goes on a burner, bro, how nervous do you get?
Not that
how
nervous.
Okay.
Not that nervous. I feel like
I've seen a couple of times where I was like,
it depends
man
on the
is not
topic, I would
comfortable.
say. It depends. I can't just give a blanket statement about every Tyler heater, because the vast majority of those are just simply heaters, the vast majority of those are Steph Curry in 2016. But then every once in a while I have to be like, wait, are we gonna go somewhere that I'm not prepared for us to go?
You can be honest.
About you?
Be honest. When I go left, it can get scary.
I love it when both of you guys go left, I love it. That's what the pod is about.
Okay.
I would say Tyler can go left for longer, but you will turn left sharper. That's what I would say.
I think that's a good way to say it.
It led to Tirico. You know what I mean?
I'm a bit of a rhythm shooter, and John is like a microwave.
He wants to get his game going. He wants to hit tween step, and then
The earth is flat sometimes, you know what I mean?
Right.
Sometimes you look, I don't know. There's points being made. Is Jesus come back in a spaceship? I don't know, nigga. You know what I'm saying? My brain can turn left.
Is he definitively not coming back in a spaceship? That's the question you should be
How
asking.
do we
yourself.
know? How do we know?
All right. We've got some really cool news, and I don't know if we have talked all that much on the pod. I know we've made references to, but that John is related to one of the greatest baseball players of all time directly. And John, I don't know if this is a surprise to you, but did you see that officially as of today, Major League Baseball is now incorporating the official statistics of the Negro Leagues into their own history and statistics? Did you see that happened?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw Josh Gibson's going to be taking over a lot of people's records too. You know what I'm saying? But like, I saw that. I didn't hear anybody arguing for it. Like, normally if something like that, somebody in my family will hit me up. Hey, they're doing this. This happened with Uncle Jay. You feel me? So and so and this and that. I didn't hear shit. So I don't know where it came from, but
there's a 17-person committee. I did a lot of reading on this last night because I'm fascinated by this type of thing. There's like a 17-person rules and statistics committee.
Okay.
And that group has been pushing for a long time for Major League Baseball to recognize the Negro League statistics. And the reason for that was every player that went from the Negro Leagues to Major League Baseball did better in Major League Baseball.
Right,
so you can't really make the argument that like it was a lower level of competition. If there's any argument to be made there, clearly it was a higher level of competition. And so they've been pushing and pushing and pushing. I think it's nice that like some of the people who are losing their records are like Ty Cobb are like people that no one in baseball wants to represent the sport of baseball
in 2024 for sure. They wanted it back then though.
Yeah.
They wanted it back then.
Now what they are doing, they're only including like they're not including everything. So like there are some apocryphal games where I forget who, it might have been Josh Gibson, allegedly had like a 4 or 5 home run game. They don't have a full box score, like independent accounting of that. So that's not being included, but the vast majority of stats are going in. The other reason I think that they had been hesitant to put it in was that the seasons weren't the same length and all that. So you could put it in and count it in the official stats, but the counting numbers aren't going to be as high because they didn't play as many games. But I heard that the counterpoint to that was they're still including the COVID shortened and strike shortened season statistics for Major League Baseball. So that shouldn't be an impediment to bringing these guys over. But that's why, like you said, the new statistical leaders in a lot of categories are on things like average and stuff like that, where the quality matters more than the number of games played. But that was a lot of context to mention. John's, is he your great uncle?
Great uncle, yeah.
Great uncle was Cool Papa Bell, who your family calls Uncle Jay. Is that right?
Uncle Jay, yeah, man. Uncle Jay, you feel me? Crazy. I just went back to the crib. My people stay off the street named after him. And what's interesting is, it's like a 3. You can't see it in like the image that I took, but it's a 3-cornered street. Like it's a MLK goes this way. It's like this way. Cool Papa Bell goes this way, and then my Uncle Uncle Norman goes the other way. So it's like MLK, my Uncle Jay, and then my other Uncle Norman You know what I'm saying? In St. Louis. So yeah,
That's
G.
wild.
It's crazy.
That's
Crazy as
history
fuck.
right there.
But yeah, man.
That's
my uncle.
that's beyond crazy. So your uncle now statistics are in the MLB stats, which I think is like the coolest fucking thing ever. But for those who don't know, supposedly the fastest baseball player in the history of the sport.
Yeah, sure.
I think everyone's heard the joke of you turn the lights off and he's in bed before it goes dark. That quote was first said about John's great uncle.
Yeah. You know, it was like a fuse situation though. So he really, he was. I shouldn't.
Wait, no. Explain it. No. Explain that.
There was delay. There was a delay on the.
So
the
he actually was
in the bed before it, but there was a little delay on the switch. Yeah, so it came from truth. You know what I mean? But the motherfucker was fast though. You feel me? So it doesn't take away from his speed. But yeah, man.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all though, man. I kind of got mixed feelings about it.
Elaborate.
You know, there's a part of me that feels okay. So I'm not at all saying that those guys weren't ballers, that they weren't incredible, right? Like we've all heard the anecdote about Josh Gibson. Is Josh Gibson wasn't the black Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was the white Josh Gibson.
Sure.
We've seen Joe DiMaggio say that Satchel Paige was the best pitcher he ever faced, right? 56 game hitting streak, and he faced like a 45-year-old Satchel, and he said that's the best guy I've ever seen, right? I'm for sure, like I said, I'm not at all saying that these guys weren't ballers who would have gone to the MLB and thrived and been gods there too. It's just, I think sometimes the most powerful thing you can do about a shameful moment in history is to stand firm in that shame. And the Negro League, incredible league. Like I said, there's nothing shameful about the Negro Leagues, but it came about from a shameful premise, a shameful time in our country's history where there was segregation, right? And I just don't know if retroactively making that right is the best way to honor things here. Like I said, I've got mixed feelings. They should be acknowledged. You know, we absolutely should bring more light to how good, incredible these guys were and how they were robbed of playing on the biggest stage because of racism, because of no other reason than their skin color. But like I said, I think sometimes the most powerful thing you can do about injustices is to stand firm in them and acknowledge them, but and not try to retroactively fix them. That's kind of where I'm at. Mixed feelings here, like I said.
I think a lot of people don't know how good the Negro League players were. They don't know how good and competitive the Negro League was. You know, they think it was like a AAA type league, and that some players went into the MLB and were just better. You know, I mean, those are the good players made there. So, like to Tyler's point, might be better to just, hey, instead of doing that, highlight the Negro League, speak to it. Speak to how good these players were. You know what I mean? Speak to why they couldn't be in an MLB. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that might be the more powerful thing instead of integrating it. And then we don't talk about the Negro League as much anymore and the importance of that and how popping it was during that time period. You feel me? And we just talk about them as Major League Baseball players when they weren't allowed to play. A lot of people that were good enough weren't allowed to play. You feel me?
Right.
So, I mean, that's a hell of a point.
I think I think you're 100% correct.
Can you do them both together though? Can you do that?
I think that's what they're attempting to do, and I think it's like certainly up for plenty of judgment about whether they succeeded it or not. But this is part of their effort to, like, they're going to have a game. They've had a game, I think, in June every year that is honoring the Negro Leagues, where the teams wear a Negro League jersey and they talk about the history and stuff. I think what's difficult is, like, the way baseball in particular sees its history is through numbers. And so I think this is the attempt to bring out that conversation that you're talking about of these numbers should count, because these guys, like I think and you saw it obviously in a ton of replies, there's still so much racism in that assumption that it's a triple. Why would you assume, looking at the history of professional sports in America,
without black people? What fucking league has been better without black people? As soon as they let us in, we took that motherfucker over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man.
So I think this is Major League Baseball, and I would add, by the way, I think Major League Baseball has by far the worst record on race in American pro sports. Would never defend the MLB's record on that. I do think this is their effort to highlight that these dudes were good enough that we shouldn't say Ty Cobb hitting against not the best pitchers in the world gets to have these records because we were not letting the most talented players play in the game. So I think it's an attempt to do what Tyler's talking about through the statistical record. Now, the problem with baseball is that's the context they want is through the numbers, right? Like that's the problem, is not maybe opening up and telling that fuller story as much as possible. But I'm grateful for, getting to read as many arguments as I read yesterday of, this is the logical reasons you should give to anyone who says these numbers shouldn't count because it wasn't against the best competition or whatever. But it's a very interesting move. I'll say that, bro, because Tyler makes a great point. I mean, he makes a great point. Like, you're trying to set the record straight, but what's the difference between that and sort of covering up or pretending that an injustice wasn't done? That's a very thin line.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you ignoring history, setting the record straight? You know what I'm saying? Does that allow you to not speak on why it needed to be done? You know what I mean? Why it existed in the first place. So yeah, that's a hell of a point. I didn't even think about it like that initially. So yeah.
All right. Speaking of people being clumsy and stupid about race, I'm texting y'all a tweet right now from Sam Forster, who is a white journalist in Canada, an investigative journalist, who tweeted the following thing yesterday. Last summer, I disguised myself as a black man and traveled through the United States to document how racism persists in American society. Writing Seven Shoulders was one of the hardest things I've ever done as a journalist. It's out on May 30th.
We need to see the pictures, bro. We need to see what this motherfucker look like.
That is the most pressing question I have. We don't need this drawing. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, we need
drop
the
photos. Photos, nigga.
I want to see what this motherfucker looks
for a year. We need to find out. For what? Is this like what is this? Is this research, nigga, or is this just a book you wanted to write? The fuck?
Nigga. It didn't occur to me that he was going for the Guinness world record of marathon blackface.
Consecutive days of blackface. Hey, I gotta see too, because nigga.
We got to see the picture, bro. That's the only thing that matters here.
Because this is the whitest white motherfucker I see, bro. Bro, like, nigga, he looks like the definition of a white man, dog. You know what I mean? Like, if you define it, like you draw that, it would be his face. How did you look like a nigga, bro? I got to see that, dog. I got to see that.
Bro, when was the last time someone promoting a book had a tweet that had 8,200 quote tweets?
Where is this motherfucker from?
Someone said, I saw you at the corner store, and it's a picture of Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
Where in Canada is he from? Because he can't be from Toronto. He got to be from the white.
He is from Montreal.
Okay. They don't even like niggas out there, do they? Am I tripping?
I don't know enough about Canadian.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah. I hear like
I think my favorite reply is someone just going, "What were you thinking?" Because it's funny. It's like, is it about the story or about the tweet? Either way, brother.
What were you thinking the last fucking year of your life doing this? Yeah, we need the picture, bro. That's all. I don't give a fuck about reading any of this shit. I'm a black person who knows how real racism is. You need to show us this motherfucking picture, dog. That's all we care about.
Yo, we got someone in the YouTube chat at Canuck Duke who said, I'm not sticking up for that Canadian. He's on his own. Got a whole country saying no thanks.
Ain't no way, bro.
I also looked at the listing for this book on Amazon. You will not believe the book. If you think the tweet is ill-advised, brother, let me read you the 2-sentence book overview. 6 decades after the passage of the Civil Rights Act, award-winning journalist Sam Forster performs a daring transformation in order to taxonomize the various types of racism that persist in modern America. Seven Shoulders is the most important book on American race relations that has ever been written.
He reviewed that shit himself, didn't he?
Sam Forster,
the daring journalist. Review by Sam Forster. Fuck that
Who-
book, man.
Who wrote the review? Was it the black version?
Oh,
of
that's
him?
the book.
Who wrote the review? The nigga did blackface to write his own review. Like, nigga, what the fuck? This nigga is insane, dog. Bro, daring to be black. Daring.
A daring
What?
transformation.
Daring
Motherfucker
transformation.
sound like he turned into a werewolf, dog.
Like he's evil Knievel, nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Walking the tightrope that is blackness. What the fuck? Everybody's insane, nigga.
Putting blackface on, looking in the mirror, making eye contact with yourself, saying, yes, a daring transformation.
You can do this today. You'll make it through. Only 365 days. You'll be okay. The fuck is wrong with these niggas, man? Dog. Being white is crazy, dog.
Crossing off the calendar, only 341 days left.
And the motherfucker's a Canadian. That's so wild. He saw some American racism going on. He was like, I need to experience that firsthand.
Probably
Where's
use
my
that
shoe
voice.
polish?
He probably used that voice. I need to experience that. You know what I mean?
Fuck that dude,
Maybe
man.
maybe Drake wrote the review on the book. You know,
he saw that Drake picture, and that was the inspiration, dog. Ah,
Wow. I'm surprised every day.
Hell, Canuck Duke in the chat is giving some killer lines. I don't know what the 401 is. Must be a freeway in Canada. But he just said, shoot, he could have drove down the 401 and asked me.
yeah. I'm sure some black Canadians out there who would love to have a chat with you, bro.
Would love to talk to you about the experience. What the?
Oh, but that wouldn't be taxonomizing, you know?
Right. It wouldn't be as daring to actually talk to a black person about black shit.
That's
You know
what
what I mean?
that's what S.A. Cosby, who's a writer I like from Virginia, who writes like crime books and is a black dude. His response was like, "Did you just think about like talking to a black person?" Like,
Of course not. He doesn't know any. We're myths. He heard about us.
like perhaps like interview someone, you know, like maybe that will work.
He had to reinvent himself as one.
A daring transformation.
A daring
Daring transformation. What's the percentage of black people in Montreal? I can't imagine him walking by an actual nigga in Montreal dressed as a nigga.
Google says
10%.
10%.
Nah. I mean, it's not St. Louis or Richmond. You know what I mean?
That's par for a major city. How many people
That's
in
par
Montreal?
for-
About a couple million?
And we're talking about what?
How many? What's the population in Montreal? Like a couple million?
3.8 well,
Oh,
the,
that's
the,
kinda
small.
the metro area is 3.8. The actual city is 1.6.
Yeah, that's par for the course for like a
yeah,
major city.
yeah.
10%.
Yeah, I'm looking at this Canadian census. You know what they refer to what we would call people of color as? You know what they call those people?
Negroes?
No, visible minorities.
God damn. we can see the black hole in your face there, buddy.
Wait.
You are
Is
very
that
visible.
worse? Is
Visible minority?
That's nasty.
That is that. We see
Wait,
that
wait,
there, buddy.
Is that
So someone's
just,
grandpa was black.
black people, or is that of all races that aren't white?
It's
Are
all
all
it's all non-white, non-aboriginal people.
Are visible minorities?
Yes.
Wow.
That's wild.
Is Canada? Does it feel more racist?
Sam should have stayed home.
Think that you said what?
It says Sam should have stayed home.
Yeah, right. And do some investigation on the visible minorities there. The fuck is that?
Visible minority.
I mean, yeah, there's 200,000 black people in Montreal. Like,
Ooh, that is nasty, bro.
all right. Great show, guys. Nice to be back. Jackson, anything else from the chat we've missed?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks to everyone for for tuning in. We will be back Thursday night. The whole crew will be back Thursday night to live stream after the Mavs Wolves game. I got to tell you, just from a pure selfish podcast perspective, I really hope we get as many games out of this series as possible, because the NBA is not going to move their finals date. So every basketball podcast you listen to, except for this one, is going to be utter slop if this fucking series ends on Thursday. And you're going to get 6 different finals previews from every podcast you listen to.
We'll be silly Billying it up. You know what I'm saying? We'll have some fun.
That's a fact. All right. We'll see y'all Thursday night. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.